Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of Entertainment Buzz, where we dive deep into one of the most talked about incidents in daytime television history. Imagine the set of Loose Women, that iconic British chat show known for its unfiltered opinions and lively debates, buzzing with anticipation as the legendary Sir Anthony Hopkins graces the panel. At 87 years old, Hopkins, the Oscar-winning maestro behind Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs and the poignant Father and the Father, is there to promote his latest cinematic venture, a gripping drama about redemption and the human spirit. The audience is electric, the lights are bright, and the panel featuring the fiery Denise Welch, alongside regulars like Stacey Solomon and Nadia Sawalha, seems ready for a sophisticated exchange. But what starts as a promising conversation about artistry and legacy quickly spirals into chaos, leaving viewers stunned and social media ablaze. This is the story of how a simple question ignited a firestorm, culminating in Hopkins being unceremoniously asked to leave the stage after a clash that exposed the raw underbelly of celebrity interviews. As we unpack this moment, we'll explore the build-up, the blow-up, and the broader implications for how we treat icons in the glare of the spotlight. Hopkins, with his Welsh lilt and piercing gaze, embodies a lifetime of triumphs from his stage roots in the National Theatre to Hollywood gloria. Yet on this fateful afternoon, he found himself defending not just his work, but his very dignity against what many perceived as an ambush. Denise Welch, a Loose Women stalwart since 2002, has built her reputation on bold takes, from championing mental health awareness to sparring over political hot buttons, but this encounter would test the limits of her candor. Picture the scene: the studio in London's ITV headquarters, applause thundering as Hopkins settles into the plush chair, his tailored suit a nod to old-world elegance amid the show's casual vibe. The host, Christine Lampard, kicks things off with praise for his recent role, drawing laughs with a quip about his timeless charm. Hopkins smiles modestly, recounting anecdotes from the set with that signature dry wit, the kind that has endeared him to generations. The panel nods appreciatively, Welch included, her eyes sparkling with what appears to be genuine admiration. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer. Rumors had swirled for weeks about Welch's skepticism toward Hollywood elitism, a theme she's touched on in past episodes critiquing celebrity excess. As the chat flows, Hopkins shares a vulnerable story about overcoming alcoholism in the 70s, a tale of hitting rock bottom at 32 and emerging stronger, which resonates deeply with the audience. Welch leans in, her expression shifting from warmth to intensity, setting the stage for the pivot that would change everything. This wasn't just any interview, it was a collision of Arasa Hopkins, the classical thespian forged in post-war Britain, versus Welch, the Geordie firebrand shaped by tabloid scrutiny and personal battles. The atmosphere in the Loose Women studio hangs heavy with the scent of fresh coffee and hairspray, the audience leaning forward in their seats as Denise Welch clears her throat, her voice cutting through the chatter like a Geordie gale. "Sir Anthony," she begins, her tone laced with that trademark blend of curiosity and confrontation, "you've played so many complex characters, some monsters, kings, lost souls, but let's get real for a second. In your new film, your character grapples with regret over past indulgences, much like your own history with the bottle. But isn't it a bit hypocritical for a man of your stature, who's preached sobriety for decades, to now glorify the bottle in this romanticized redemption arc? Are we not just feeding the very demons you claim to have slain?" The words land like a slap, the studio gasping collectively as Hopkins' face, usually a mask of serene composure, flickers with surprising eyebrows arching, lips pursing in that lecturesque stillness that chills spines. The panel freezes, Solomon's hand flies to her mouth, Sawalha shifts uncomfortably, and Lampard stammers an attempt at levity, but it's too late. Hopkins pauses, his blue eyes locking onto Welch's with an intensity that silences the room, the second stretching into eternity. This isn't the softball query about craft or inspiration, it's a personal gut punch, dredging up his AA meetings, his near-death overdoses, and the 45 years of sobriety he's worn like a badge of honor. Welch, undeterred, doubles down, citing a recent interview where Hopkins quipped about wine's joys, twisting it into an accusation of mixed messages to vulnerable viewers. The audience murmurs, some nodding in agreement. After all, loose women thrives on such raw accountability, while others boo softly, sensing the overreach. Hopkins, drawing on decades of stage poise, responds not with anger but with a measured gravitas that commands respect. "Miss Welch," he says, his voice a low rumble like distant thunder, "art is not autobiography, nor is it propaganda. My character drinks to drown sorrow, as many do, and finds light beyond not glorification, but truth. I've buried my demons, I needn't exhume them for your scrutiny." The exchange crackles with electricity, Welch firing back about celebrity privilege shielding stars from real-world consequences, her passion rooted in her own advocacy for addiction recovery, having battled depression and substance issues herself. Born in 1958 in Newcastle, Welch rose through Waterloo Road and Coronation Street, but it's her loose women tenure that made her a household name, unafraid to eviscerate from Meghan Markle to Boris Johnson. Back from the ad break, the loose women set feels like a powder keg with a lit fuse. The audience's applause more nervous than enthusiastic as Anthony Hopkins straightens his tie, his jaw set in quiet resolve. Christine Lampard, sensing the volatility, pivots desperately to safer ground. "Sir Anthony, tell us about your painting. I've seen those abstracts, they're mesmerizing." Hoping to douse the flames, Hopkins obliges with a soft chuckle, describing his Malibu studio where canvases capture the Pacific's moods in bold slashes of blue and crimson, a therapeutic escape from method madness. The panel exhales, Solomon gushing about trying watercolors herself, Sawaha sharing a fan letter from a viewer inspired by his creativity. For a fleeting moment, normalcy reigns. The chat veers to Oscars trivia, Hopkins regaling with a tale of nearly botching his 1992 acceptance speech. Sober but shaking, laughter ripples, easing the knot in the room. But Denise Welch, her cheeks flushed from the earlier salvo, isn't Donia far from it. As Hopkins pauses for water, she interjects smoothly, "That's all well and good. But circling back, doesn't your film's bar scenes risk glamorizing booze for impressionable kids? We've a duty, haven't we?" The pivot is seamless yet seismic, reigniting the inferno with surgical precision. Hopkins' glass clinks sharply on the table, his eyes narrowing as he absorbs the renewed assault, this time framed as societal guardianship, a mantle Welch wears proudly from her campaigns against stigma. The audience stirs, a few claps for her persistence, but murmurs of "let it go" swell. Hopkins, his voice steady but edged with steel, counters, "Duty, my dear, I've sponsored AA chapters, donated millions to recovery programs. My film shows the abyss, not the allure. You watch it, then judge." The words hang, a challenge wrapped in civility, but Welch perceives dismissal, her response a torrent. "Watch it? I've watched enough lives ruined by actors peddling escape. Your influence isn't neutral, it's nuclear." The hyperbole escalates the stakes, transforming personal critique into cultural crusade. Off mic, producers signal frantically a cut to break. No, ratings soar, live feeds spiking. The other panelists wade in, Solomon mediates with both sides valid. While Sawaha nods sympathetically to Hopkins, her own acting scars empathizing, yet Welch presses, citing stats on alcohol-related deaths over 7,000 annually in the UK, wielding data like a broadsword, her passion born from witnessing friends' descents. Hopkins, undaunted, draws on his canon. Shakespeare's Falstaff drinks to excess. Is the bard culpable? Art mirrors life, it doesn't mandate it. The literary riposte floors some, eliciting whoops, but Welch scoffs. Shakespeare didn't have Instagram. Your words echo eternally now. The Loose Women studio, once a haven of gossipy camaraderie, now pulses with the urgency of a courtroom drama, the air thick with unspoken ultimatums as Anthony Hopkins fully rises, his 5'10" frame casting a long shadow under the unforgiving lights. Denise Welch, sensing victory in his agitation, leans forward with a triumphant glint, but it's a miscalculation. Hopkins, the man who stared down Nixon in his Emmy-winning portrayal, won't yield to provocation. "Miss Welch," he declares, his timbre resonant as a sonnet's close, "your questions betray more about you than me. I've conquered worse than words, a wars within, whispers without." This inquisition ends now. The finality reverberates, applause erupting sporadically as he gathers his notes, the audience a chorus of conflicted cheers. Lampard, face paling behind her makeup, stutters, "Sir Anthony, we adore you, don't go." But it's Feudal producers, huddled in the control booth, debate aborting to pre-record, yet the live feed rolls on, captive to the carnage. Welch, stunned into momentary silence, then erupts, walking away. "That's the celebrity dodgy, prove me wrong." Her chase amplifies the melee, Solomon pleading, "Denise, love, ease up." While he covers her face, whispering apologies off-air, Hopkins pauses at the edge, turning with regal poise. "Wrong, madam, truth isn't proven in panels, it's lived in silence. Good day." With that, he strides offset, the door swinging shut like a guillotine's fall, leaving a vacuum sucked dry of oxygen. The panel dissolves into chaos, Welch defending her tough love, Lampard consoling the stunned co-hosts, the audience murmuring in disbelief. Cut to break, but not before cameras catch Hopkins in the green room, head in hands, Stella's call lighting his phone with concern. Back on air post-tad, the dissection begins. Welch tearful, "I meant to challenge, not chase him away. Addiction's no joke." Her vulnerability a stark pivot from aggressor. Clips replay in slow-mo, Hopkins exits dissected frame by frame. The subtle fist clench, the averted gaze fueling armchair psychology. Social media implodes, #loose women fail trends with 500k posts in hours. Memes of Lecter Favu bending Welch's mic going viral. Pundits piling up. Piers Morgan tweets ambush alert, poor form, Denise, while Richard madly calls it car crash. TV gold. In the shimmering aftermath of Anthony Hopkins' dramatic departure from Loose Women, the entertainment cosmos tilts on its axis, spawning a media maelstrom that engulfs tabloids, podcasts, and primetime panels like a supernova's glow. Dawn breaks with the Daily Mail's splash, Hopkins hounded out, loose fury over booze probe, a double-page spread dissecting every barb with forensic glee. Welch's furrowed brow time-stamped at 14:23, Hopkins' door slam echoing in slow-mo gifs across Twitter. By noon, BBC Breakfast dissects it soberly, Nagamunchetti probing was it fair game or foul play? While co-host Charlie State champions Hopkins' Shakespearean riposte. Across the pond, TMZ blasts Oscar King kicked, Brit talk show beef. With pap shots of Hopkins lunching stoically in Soho, Stella at his side, her hand a quiet anchor. Social media, that great unfiltered agora, fractures into factions. #stand with Hopkins rallies 1.2 million. Fans flooding his feed with Lecter quotes repurposed. #a census taker once tried to test me, I ate his liver while #Denise did right counters with 800k, allies lauding her as truth's torchbearer. Celebrities chime in as Stephen Fry tweets De Gustibus non-dispute and Mart's not autopsy, earning 50k retweets, as Judi Dench, Hopkins' stage sister, calls via video, "Darling, chin up who slayed the dragon with dignity." Loose Women, bunker bound, faces fire, ITV's switchboard jams with 5,000 complaints, regulators sniffing for Ofcom violations on harassment. Internally, Welch journals furiously, her entry's a whirlwind of regret and resolve. Did I liberate or lacerate? Sobriety's sword cuts both ways. Panel mates circle wagons, Solomon posts Insta stories of tea with Sir T, a peace offering declined politely. The ripple hits Hollywood. Hopkins' agency Caffield's promo request shriveled, his film's trailer views surging 200%, irony's gift as controversy curdles to cachet. Talk shows tremble, This Morning bans hot seats, Graham Norton preps fluffier formats, fearing Welsh witch hunts. Broader culture quakes, addiction advocates split. Chapters praise Hopkins' poise, Samaritans salute Welch's spotlight on stats, yet both decry the drama's distraction from healing. Op-eds proliferate, The Times' Caitlin Moran pens Denise's denouement, when feminist fire burns the bard, blending wit with warning on call-out culture's collateral. Feminists foodism hail Welch's hold accountable ethos, others decry ageist ambush on a septuagenarian icon. Hopkins, hermit-like, holes up in Wales, hiking Snowdonia trails where boyhood ghosts whisper fortitude, emerging for a BAFTA tribute where he jests, Loose women, tighter leash next time. Laughter lavishes, ovation thunders. Welch, meanwhile, tours theaters with her one-woman show, weaving the Clash into catharsis. From Clash to Compassionate tickets selling out, transforming infamy to inspiration. Crossovers occur, a joint charity auction for recovery funds, Hopkins donating a Lecter sketch, Welch a signed script, netting £250K, proof bridges build from breaches.